Good morning. Welcome back to the Padilla Family Homestead. It is Sunday, June 14th, 2026. We had a pretty big storm with some high winds roll through last night. I actually saw this bush tree thing over here, like almost horizontal. So there was a lot of winds. We got really lucky, I think. We're coming out here for the first time to check the garden, but my green stalks are in place. Let me show you this really fast. So in this corner, we have a fence, and then we have the house. The winds, for the most part, were coming from this direction. And so it actually, we had a wind block here. So a lot of things were protected, which was great. I was really worried. These have held up really well so far in the winds. But when you're talking 70-mile-an-hour winds, there's that shot, that chance that something's going to happen. So I was a little worried about that. We have some issues with some of the plants inside of them, it looks like. But I'm going to take you for a walk and show you where things are right now, because even since my last video, things have grown like crazy. We have another pest problem because I took the, the netting off the greens because of the pincher bugs or the earwigs. And now I've got poop all over my greens and a bunch of holes, so we have caterpillars. So I have been out here picking a ton. It's nice and cool this morning, so we're probably going to pick a ton more off, and I just want to show you kind of what to look for in that. And then I bought a solution already. I'm thinking ahead for this storm, but it's not here yet, and so I'm going to explain to you what I'm going to do for my peppers. But let's take a walk around and see what's going on. So there's a lot being eaten in the greens. Now I'm leaving some of the really eaten stuff on here because I want to use it more as a trap. Like this cabbage is, I would rather this get eaten. However, I've got to pick stuff off. I want it to be on there, but like if you look really close, there's one. It literally matches the leaf. They are very small sometimes. These are cabbage loopers. They come from those white moths, and I know those white moths have been hanging. Oh, look at this. There's two back to back. I know those white moths have been hanging out a lot, so I knew I was going to start having some damage here. But it just, man, these things just attack so fast. I literally just cleaned this off of, oh, there's one sitting right here. So we're going to come back here. I can see a shadow of two right here. We're going to come back over here and keep clearing off because I really do want kale to eat. I want greens, so I need to stop this cycle. I don't want a bunch of more butterflies hanging around, creating more caterpillars to eat everything. So I need to stop the caterpillars at this phase before they continue on. But this is literally an all-day process almost. It's coming through here looking for, oh, there's a little bit of a shadow right here. So that means there's a big one right there. Well, and this guy is really tiny, but he's hiding in here. They will have their favorites. You can pretty much look for poop and then go up above it. So if we're looking at this poop, up above it, this looks like part of the seam here, but that's actually a caterpillar. I have a caterpillar on my thumb, that's gross. There's a little guy right here. It's very tiny. There's another shadow. That could be water. That one was water. Anyway, so there's lots going on here. So I will be doing this a whole lot. Just continually picking off caterpillars. We don't want to let them get too big because they will go ahead and cocoon up and create a butterfly or moth. It's a really cabbage moth. It looks like a pretty white butterfly. All through my childhood I called them butterflies, but they're really not. Anyway, so this is not storm damage though, so things are very much being leaned over, but we are going to harvest a bunch of stuff and be good here. But these greens were highly protected by this fence, which is amazing. I'm going to turn around here. I'm kind of surprised these are still okay. I did plant beans behind for a secondary rotation, but they are so leggy that I don't know what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to start pulling one from each pocket and just planting a new bean, because we've gotten a ton of beans. These are the dragon tongue bush beans. These are starting to get diseased. Starting to get damaged up pretty bad. This probably had some damage from the storm last night. They look pretty rough, but they looked a little rough before that. Over here, things look good. I am concerned. Let's see, let me check the soil on the other side, because yeah, I need a water. So that one side got a lot of water, but the other side did not. And so we need to make sure that we water these green stalks. That way they are ready to operate. Let's plop off some of the water here. I have some more beans planted up here. Everything looks okay. Checking the soil. This probably can use a little bit of water because we're still going to get hot. Okay, these straw flowers looked very wimpy, puny yesterday due to needing water. So they did get a ton of water. However, I'm almost concerned I didn't put them in a big enough pocket. I probably should have put these in a regular tier instead of a leaf. But these are also attracting a ton of insects. So it'll be interesting to see. I've never grown straw flower. I'm super excited about having straw flower. They're shooting up tall, so hopefully everything goes good. The zinnias are producing flowers. I've trimmed some and brought them inside. What's neat is the snapdragons are starting to produce. So that's one color. And here's a different color. Oh, this looks like it succumbed to the storm. And that was pointing on towards the outside. So that's a bummer. Okay. Let's keep going. Actually, I should spin this. Everything else looks okay. Well, let's check out these peppers. This is a problem. These guys are still so small, and this wind is just too much for them. So what I did is I ordered some skewers for barbecuing, And I'm going to put a skewer on either side down here and then tie the base up to that to help give it some support on these windy days until it grows a stronger stalk. Because all of these need just a little bit of support. Look, that one was blown around so much the roots are showing. So I need to get this covered back up a little bit. I don't want roots showing. That helped a tiny bit. Maybe I should get my base going up here. That'll help. Okay, so but these peppers got blown around pretty darn good. Let's check out, see what's going on this side. Yeah, you need some help. Cilantro is bolting. Cilantro is a winter crop, not really a summer crop, so it's going to be gone here very soon. So let's take a peek over here. First of all, look at that growth. Just in the last 13 days. I'll put a comparison on the screen. That is crazy to me. So much growth. So over here, let's make sure our tomatoes fared okay. This is our Berries Crazy Cherry. It's the multifloral. So there are so many flowers popping in. So we should have some tomatoes pretty soon. Yeah, all of these look fine. This one could probably be tied up pretty soon. But all of these are looking fine. They withstood the wind extremely well, surprisingly. So nothing looks broken, which is great. Let's get my cucumber. I want it to pull up. I don't really want the cucumber touching this because this cucumber has had some powdery mildew issues already. So we have the Boston pickling and the miniature white cucumber, which, ooh, there's a miniature white down there. So we'll see. These peppers are going. This one's getting hit pretty hard with something. That was before the storm though. So it is what it is. Got our first squash flower after this storm. That's pretty fun. Something keeps digging in here. But we have some pea flowers here. These are Sugar Daddy. And these are that magnolia tendril, which I wasn't getting flowers. Now all of a sudden I'm getting these beautiful purple flowers that produce these beautiful purple pea pods. So I'm going to let those keep growing a little bit, and then I'll get to harvest some peas. Be nice, that color difference helps it pop. But it took until it got very tall to even start growing anything, which is crazy. We'll come over here. I've been harvesting a lot of stuff out of these. I harvested a turnip very small the other day. But you can see turnips are growing. When you have them planted close like this, one is going to grow, the other one's not going to grow really big. So you kind of got to pull the one to allow growth for the other one. These are also getting a lot of caterpillar damage. And then this is lemon balm in the center, which is doing amazing. Our radishes are growing. And then, well, that's funny. I guess that is a rutabaga baby. So it was a caterpillar that was eating the tops of my carrots. I finally found it and got it out of here. So I might get a couple of carrots, but other than that, I'm just gonna wait for a fall planting of carrots for the rest. Since we're doing basically a tour, my in-ground garden is covered in weeds, so I need to get out of here and really spend some time weeding. I just haven't had the time to do so. But there are onions in here. This one is flowering, which is weird. There are onions and strawberries all throughout this bed. I'm really hoping that the rabbits didn't cause too many problems. There are quite a few that are laying down. The walking onion is starting to fall over and walk. We've got an echinacea popping up. We have some okra growing, and we have it only gets 3 foot long, but it's a butternut squash that hopefully will span out. That rosemary actually came back there. I planted that out of the GreenStalk, and I didn't think it was going to come back. And then there's a lemon verbena behind that okra right there. So lots growing, and I still have the in-ground mint that somebody previously had planted. But this is why I think we didn't have as many issues with the GreenStalks, because of this, the house being a huge block, because it was coming this direction, and so that helped a lot with the wind. And then that fence as well, and then their canopy is there's rebar or something hammered into the ground, and so it's very well staked down, which is why that didn't go anywhere. Let's go ahead and harvest what green beans I can harvest. I keep harvesting these. We've been eating a lot fresh, but I'm starting to freeze them for meals in the future to where I can have enough to pan fry and make an entire meal. Yeah, I think this guy's gonna come out. I'm gonna go ahead and pull it out. Actually, I'm gonna cut at the base. That's the plan. We'll let the roots break down. This has no flowers on it, so I'm gonna try to let something grow here. And then this one is pretty. Which one's the worst? Let's say this one's probably the worst. Get some sun in here. Anyway, so we've been getting a lot of green beans. This harvest shouldn't be that big because I did a really big one yesterday. And I picked some of the smaller ones yesterday. But it's been fun to be able to harvest a ton of food from this GreenStalk when not a lot of the other stuff is coming in yet. I still have a good amount coming off of these beans. So I think in the future, what I would do, I have a plan for future me. I am not going to plant all of these at the same time. I think I will plant each tier in succession by about a week or so. And then, which I did not even do with replanting, but I'm going to have issues here. So what I would do in the future is probably plant the top one, and then plant, actually no, I would do the bottom one. I would do the third tier, and then I would a week later plant this tier, and a week later plant this tier. That way these bush beans are coming on in succession, and then I can pull out my bottom ones easily, cut them out and replant while these two are still producing. and then go from there. So that's kind of my future plan for myself. There's only so much I can do, and I'm still learning. I've never done successfully this kind of bean growing in a GreenStalk, because I've always used it for other things. But this time around I was able to, and I am loving it. It is easy to harvest. This keeps natural spacing because of the pockets, so it keeps things spaced out so you don't have to hunt the same way for things, or it doesn't break as easily. Bean leaves are like, oh, there's a grasshopper. You are detrimental to this garden. You go away. So bean leaves break off super easy, which is one reason why I'm trying to give it a lot of space over here between green stalks. But yeah, so it's just something to consider. The other option is to grow one per pocket, all to like the left or something in the pocket, and then succession sow the one on the right. But you're still going to have grow over issues and things like that. So I don't know if that's a full solution, but I think that planting one row at a time is going to be the best. I also don't like these trellises in with the beans. I will say that. I don't find a need for it. Even with the storm, these did better. This just causes is something for it to get stuck on and the leaves to break off. So I'm not going to use those for bean pockets. I did it only on a few. Oh, there's one that got away from me yesterday. So yeah, I am pulling, trying to make sure. I'm walking around out here barefoot, so I have to be careful. Even though we're in this city, it's high tick season, and we have a lot of alpha gal ticks out here. And I love my red meat. So I just watch what stuff is crawling on me to try to see what it is. Anyway, with all that being said, there's going to be pros and cons to everything on what you're doing in these planters. You're going to learn. So I would have gotten no beans if I hadn't have tried and just done this. And then I would not have known that I didn't like to succession plant behind the pocket. Somebody suggested that, but for me that doesn't work. So now in the future I know that. Somebody said to try these. Other people were like, I don't see a need. And I'm following that category of I don't see a need. Now I will say what I am realizing is this is now going to drag on this fence. So I got to be careful with that. So I also started a different type of bean in other planters. So I have the royal purple bush beans here, and I should have wax beans over there, the yellow wax beans. So I'm trying to have a variety of colors going on too, and seeing if I could also just stagger my plantings by what planter I'm planting them in. So do this planter first, let this go, do 3 in another planter, and then let it go from there. But this should lighten this up a lot. That just needs a new seed. This is just ridiculous. It's so leggy. It's not going to have any support or strength, which is my concern. Alright, so this lightened up. We've harvested what we want to harvest. And I have a pepper plant growing up in here, which is going to need some sort of support. So this is something I need to figure out. I think I'm going to have to do a trellis around this one to hold this up, or put a individual stake in here. So that's all I got going on with the beans. I did not get very many today, but it's still a little handful. I've been getting a ton, which is awesome. So I'll rinse those. I'll let them soak for a minute in some water, and then I'll shake them dry, and I put them in a Ziploc and lay them flat in the freezer. And then once they're frozen, then I can scrunch them back down to the bottom. Oh, there's a lightning bug. It won't light up right now, but that is a lightning bug in the daytime. Kind of cool. Alright, so let's turn our attention over here. And we are going hunting. Here we go, blending right in. Look at that little guy. So this is our cabbage looper. They will decimate your greens. So I'm looking at this leaf here. Oop. I'm looking at this leaf here. This line right here. Ooh, it went away. That line is a cabbage looper. This one just has a lot of damage. I'm just going to pull that one off. Another one. Another one. Another one. Can you see him there? These caterpillars have been the bane of my existence for years. So that's why I've gotten good at spotting them, but I still will miss them. And then I'll be like, how did I miss you? Okay, so I planted this lettuce as a cut and come again. I think it's just going to be time to, it was trying to bolt anyway. So I'm going to harvest what I can. Something may still grow out of that. We'll see. I'm not planting today. Oh, there's caterpillars in this one. Get out of there. So I'm just going to go through. This storm really wreaked havoc on this. And I'm more likely to have damaged leaves if I leave it out here versus edible salad. I mean, these are heavy. So I'm going to go through and trim these out. I'm going to trim a little higher than I did that first week. And then hopefully these will still grow. think that caterpillar was from it falling. I know that's a bad leaf. That's a bad leaf. Not a good little bit. I'm also going to harvest this guy here. So one more thing I want to do, this basil, I'm having a hard time with some of the basil. And so I am actually going to cut these as long as I can, but they're still going to be short. This is going to encourage this to bush. This is my regular basil, just the Genovese. And I want to, that's pretty short. Oh well. I'll let that one be. I only had a few of these seeds come up, so I'm trying to be conscious about allowing these to bush, but also where I can start seeds inside, not seeds, starts. I can put this in water and root it. This is too short. This one is probably the shortest that I would go. And I can root that and put it in and make another plant out of it. So I'm going to look here and I'm going to look at the basil over here. So that's it for today. I am going to get this harvest inside, which I will show you that. It's a pretty good harvest. I just did a harvest similar yesterday. Overall, I feel like we weathered the storm pretty well. And then I have a few things like the pepper supports I'm going to put in, and I've got some labels I'm going to finish working on this weekend, and I'll record that and you'll probably see that the following week. And how I'm doing my plant labels and so forth. So I'm really excited about how much is growing in the garden. We're going to have fails. We're going to have things that die, but I planted a lot and I will end up getting a lot, which is awesome. I am supporting, I just went to a farmer's market yesterday, which was awesome. So I was able to get some Cherokee purple tomatoes. So we're going to have a BLT with probably with some of this lettuce and the basil. So we're super stoked about that. But we're loving eating as fresh as possible and harvesting what we can, and adding little bits into our meals as we go. So when you're living in a duplex or an apartment or a small backyard with restrictions or whatever, like this is a shared backyard. There's 4 duplexes that share this yard. So there are animals. I have restrictions on what I can plant in the ground and what I can't. So that's why the green stalks are all on the patio. Trying to make sure that I'm utilizing the space that we have in a way that's going to maximize production. So yeah, so I'm excited to see what happens next in the garden and when we get to start harvesting. And that's about it. I'll see you on the next video.